26th. We are about 10 days to the OHDSI Global Symposium, which is between October 7th to October 9th. This work group has a 4-hour session at the Regent New Brunswick Hotel. It's a room that can hold about 100 people. We have multiple tables. Current registration is around 48 people in person. And we have also opened it up for online, and online could be several more people. We do not know. I have not sent out the links to the online meeting yet. The purpose of today's conversation is for us to continue to be aligned on the plan, the run of show, so that we can execute it. I sent an email to the whole work group today and pretty much the broader Odyssey community to to talk about the logistics. As of right now, we are probably close to being in the red area in terms of our planning. So we need to really ramp up our planning session to execute this with the lowest risk possible. It's an extremely complex undertaking that we have taken, but that's the exciting part. We love to do it. So we will do it. Just I'll walk through the slides very quickly, and then we'll break up and we'll discuss this. This is a discussion again. So we're calling this the Minds Meet Machines Challenge. That means this is the human mind versus the AI challenge. And our objective is to review the proposed scientific work session that on the using AI in concept set development. And now we need to mobilize both AI participation and people participation. So you all know the OHDSI forum post, it's pretty long. Let me pull that up really quick. The forum post goes, it's here. It even has a YouTube video link from Evan Mintius. So this long OHDSI forum post has a lot of details, and I keep updating it. So in terms of the structure, here's the call for collaborations with the confirmed attendees. I have the attendees list. I have their emails. I have their contact information. I have not started sending personal emails to them yet, mainly because that will start 7 days before the symposium. Um, the so this talks about the experimental arms. So we'll have one table per clinical idea. We have several clinicians who have confirmed as expert leads. Some are tentative, and almost all of them will be in person. The idea is to have one concept set per clinical table as the deliverable. So we'll have some concept set that is considered primary, and then if they're adventurous, they can tackle more. Based on our prior experiences running shows like this, it is very difficult to even complete one. So going adventurous to more is probably not possible, but it's up to the clinical lead to make these decisions. The organizers here are honest brokers. We just facilitators. So this is a controlled experiment. So because it's a controlled experiment, we as investigators will be managing the time, managing the assignment, recording sessions with consent, and then analyzing it based on pre-specified protocol. So the first section talks about the different clinical ideas that's evolving. We need to send them out exactly 1 week before to both the AI arm and the human arm. So going back here, so what we are doing is to go into details of the forum post to talk about the structure of the scientific experiment and understand the experimental design, especially the scale that will be used to measure the AI output versus the human performance output, the collaboration tools that will be used, the logistics of the run of the show. So that's mainly what we want to achieve here. So this is the scientific part. So we have a hypothesis. The hypothesis is that LLM driven methods can generate phenotype concept sets or codeless with the clinical validity and completeness comparable to an expert-led manual curation. So the one arm is an expert-led, physician-led, practicing physician-led, preferably manual curation of codes on the clinical area that they have specialization in. So example, Dr. Chris McCauley from Johns Hopkins University is a rheumatologist. He will lead systemic lupus erythematosus. That makes sense. But the LLMs will be based on their pattern recognition, pretend to be a dermatologist, and be developed codeless. In the experimental design, we are going to do this multi-arm. So the reason it's multi-arm is because we have an AI arm and we have a human arm. It's blinded. The reason it's blinded is once the review is blinded. So the reviewers, when that's based on the scale, they do not know if certain concept set was generated by the human arm or the AI arm. So that the measurement tool that we'll discuss will when implemented will give us a blinded output, and that will allow us to rank the performance. It is randomized because the participants who are being assigned to the tables of the clinical need do not know which table they are going to uh, until the day of. They'll be told all the clinical ideas that we're going to work on, so they can prepare for all of them, but they cannot uh, choose. It's controlled experiment. At the same time, it's also randomized because the evaluation, you don't evaluate your work, you evaluate somebody else's work, and so we will randomize that too. So that's the mixed methods approach. From Go ahead. You can interrupt me anytime, Asa. I just can't see you.
Okay. Um, just to be clear about one point. The clinical expert is helping, is overseeing the human generation of the concept set or selection, correct? So that technically we're imagining a team of humans who will create the concept set live, but with experts on every table being basically the lead of that, the clinical lead. Now, people don't know which table they're going to go to, but the expert is already assigned. So like
Correct.
Christopher McCauley is going to be leading the lupus. That's and he will be helped with a group of informatician, whoever the attendees who are role is to help with the clinical with the concept set using the tools, whatever. But we are not. But that is the blinding part. The clinical lead is announced. The people will go into general table, and the idea is like there are experts of the informatics component, but the clinical component is not blinded.
Correct. The participant assignment, whether it's completely randomized or some form of stratified randomization, is something that we have to decide on. As you know, the 45 attendee list have varying levels of skills and exposure in Atlas. So we need to make sure that we could do a stratified randomization, that the assignment is in our controlled, where we make a judgment call about what the prior experiences are and their prior engagement are in the OHDSI community, and then we get a blend of senior informaticians, junior newcomers, and students, that combination per table.
Okay. Maybe one thing we could do that week before we can let people rank their confidence in the task of concept selection.
That makes it much better, yeah.
So then we can randomize that, and then we can say that in the design we asserted that every table has some level of expertise that is needed. So we're not comparing got it.
Yeah. Now the AI generated concept sets has to be generated prior to the symposium using standardized inputs. And the reason I'm saying that is because my assessment of the state of the art of all AI tools is there is no product or software that it can do this in real time as of right now. So they need the heads up there, and at the same time, There are several innovative ideas that are going on in academia, mostly run by graduate students with 1 or 2 GPUs that cannot compare themselves to this uh, proprietary versions that are on a hyperscaler environment. So the speed is faster, it's more stable, and so on. So because of that, to eliminate that difference, to give fairness to the smaller, less funded innovators, we are going to do this. Ask them to give it prior to the symposium.
How many AI, let's say, workflows sign up so far?
2.
We have we have 2 that are confirmed. That is Joel workflow.
Prometheus and Joel's what else script.
So we have
Hmm.
J&J and we have EPAM. And that's it, right? We didn't get any more.
No.
Okay.
So I've sent out emails today to a broad set of AI collaborators. Again, one of the feedback that I got from Evan Minty was that maybe there is hesitation. We don't know what the quality is. There is obviously fear of hallucinations and being called out that your new idea that you're going to market is not doing well. It can affect them negatively. So
So
today,
that's part of the blinding. So we're gonna say tool GenAI workflow 1 is there's not gonna be labeling of the tools.
correct. That's right. That's right. So this today I sent an email, maybe hoping that there will be more participation, given that they will be allowed to just anonymized. They get value from it. They get to see how where they stack in terms of the other alternatives, but at the same time they don't risk identifying themselves as not doing well or doing. If they're doing well, and if they want to show their name, maybe we let them at one point. But that's basically the gist of it. Okay. But the human team will generate concept sets live using the same input. So both the AI will get the clinical description, the human team will get the same clinical description with 2 line. The and the evaluation tool will extract, post process it, and present it back for evaluation. And that is something that Gaurav is working on, and he it will be this it will be its user experience and user interface will be such that the evaluators do not know whether this is an AI generated or a human generated. So it'll be given
Before
a random ID.
before we go to the evaluation, the human generate the actual live. I'm just gonna go straight into some logistics.
Mhm.
We're giving that 1 hour.
Yes, for the human generator.
We're giving that 1 hour. And currently we have we have 48 people, that including the organizers.
So including the
Correct?
organizers. So yeah, so probably around 40 actual maybe
40.
35 participants include if you remove the clinical leads. Let's say 30 conservatively.
How many
Many
clinical leads right now that are confirmed?
confirmed, I think 4.
Okay, so let's go on the assumption that we have 4, because even if 30 divided by 4, that gives
So
us around
Chris,
8
Sharish,
participants.
this is
Okay.
confirmed. He's confirmed. This is I am switching it, but I'm not got confirmation. Somebody from GenMab has expressed interest. Evan is confirmed. Critical care is
Yeah.
confirmed.
If we estimate 4, because you have 20% no show usually on the workshops, so let's go for 4 ideas. That means 4 tables. Um, I'm just talking in terms of logistics, so that so you would need 1 person at least in every table with access of Atlas environment
Yeah, so
for
a new
the
Atlas instance
selection.
will be created just for this purpose.
Okay.
and will be stable. And the way Constantine will, from the OHDSI community, will create the Atlas instance and will release the IP address. It will be not, it won't be secured. It will be unauthenticated. But then he'll make it read write for the period, and as soon as the clock strikes 1, he makes it read
Okay.
only and locks
Can we
pencils
make
down.
sure? Is it going to be Atlas, whatever, 5 point?
The
Is
latest
it going to be
Atlas, yeah,
enabled? So it's going to be
with
enabled
PB,
by
with PB
PB,
and
and it will
concept
have,
reference.
and can we control which vocabulary version
Yep,
it's going to
absolutely,
be?
absolutely. Do you have
Okay.
preference?
So I was just, because across the community we have little inconsistency. So in J and J, we didn't move yet to the latest version. We move next month. I believe the public atlas already moved. I just want to make sure that we control for that, because that's part of the
Yeah,
workflow for
let's put
both
that as
Gen
a
AI
question
and
mark to Patrick, because he represents both OHDSI and J&J in this context. Yeah.
make sure we control for vocabulary.
Yep.
Versioning.
Very important.
Okay, so logistics in terms of the, we covered with the logistics for the implementation. I think if we go into 4 tables, we have the clinical lead, so there's no potential of mess there. We just need ranking people on their confidence with the informatics sides and the tooling sides of generating concepts to make sure that we control for that too. And as we break people into the groups, we just make sure that there is a person who's, from the tooling perspective, is fluent and can help facilitate the table, work with the clinical expert.
Yeah, so we
I
have,
have the,
as a response, we have Jack Murphy on site, and Jack Murphy will go from table to table, weaving tips and tricks on how to build Atlas concept sets.
okay.
Sounds good.
We the standardized input. So we have, and I'm assuming that's what you're talking about. So we have to create that standardized input. And I can complete that. We just, the one thing that we will need, it's that's in the weeds of generating concepts, but there's always this idea of it depends on the research question. So we're going to control for that and fully hypothesize a clinical set generation for a phenotype. Yeah, so we have like certain elements that we considered standard inputs right now for the concept set. That is like, it's, so maybe we take this offline and I send an email of how this looks like.
Yeah, so
but that's what
so
I meant
from
with the standardized input.
we can't, so we need to make sure that the input is the same for both AI and human. If the AI wants to parse it in a certain way and interpret from that input, that's AI's process. But we can't give the text input customized to somebody's tool, like Joel's tool or something. No,
It's not, Gautam. No, it's very generalizable. It's not. I did this before the tool. So basically, it was just conceptually, what are the questions that a clinician need to identify before going into the selecting concepts?
Yep.
So we have like 5 questions. It's the same as the clinical description. It just adds a little bit from what's the utility of the phenotype. So let me just do this by email.
Okay, sounds good.
And then the one thing is that we need to make sure that this is stable and doesn't change throughout the human discussion later on.
No.
So I think one of the elements is that the clinical lead
Experts
need to sign up on it before we hit go. So the clinical lead can say, you know what, well, it depends, whatever, like,
yeah, we may have to have a
part of
follow-up. Yeah,
lupus shouldn't be included, whatever, something like that. Like, we shouldn't have some discussions
yeah, we can have
post-hoc.
have a short call with just the clinical leads and a line and close that out. Yeah, we'll do a clinical lead training. Perfect. Okay. So we talked about right. So in terms of the 4-hour work session, this is a run of show. We have a phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Phase 1, it's all, I have the exact details of the run of show in the OHDSI forums here. It's it's 4 hours, October 9th. These are the different key people, session leads, Aza and I. Methods leads Jack Murphy. He'll help with experimental design, overview, the rubric training, rubric randomization management, that kind of stuff. The actual logistics, Elise and Lucy will help with those. AI leads, right now the named AI leads are Daria and Joel Sodell. But then there may be others. We're just waiting for them to come. They will be given the option to do live demonstrations if they want to, and I'll tell you that, show you where that is. The evaluation tool, the technical lead is Gaurav Dravida, and Jack Murphy is the measurement tool, measurement scale. So he's going to have the evaluation tool, the application. Jack's going to have the actual measurement, and he may, if we have time, we'll talk about it a little bit. There is going to be a backend team. The backend team is the one that is responsible to, as soon as the pencils go down on the Atlas concept set creation system, they will do an extraction and feed to the web application. So these are the people who are responsible. Sajjan's on the call. The that will feed into Gaurav's web application. Gaurav's web application will be pre-filled with the AI output, um, and it will then append the human output. That is estimated to take about 25 minutes. And during that 25 minutes is when the AI group will be presenting their methodologies. So the run of show is this is the T minus for preparation. 7 to 8 is the pre-session that is just for the setup. 8 to 8:45 is the introduction and the protocol standardization. So I will give the welcome, and you and I will manage the welcome and greetings. Jack will give a presentation of 10 minutes with experimental design, and then we'll do a standardized training. So just we'll quickly walk through the Atlas user interface just so that everybody is familiar, like where is the Atlas website, what to look for, what's the naming convention, what prefix to use so that they identify their table number, their phenotype name, and their participant ID. So how do we name it in such a way that the backend is extracted? The Jack will go around the tables to making sure, verifying that this critical naming convention is followed, and the evaluation rubric will be discussed later on, but we will put it out publicly. But we'll discuss it later on. It will be disclosed though. It's not a secret. 8:45 to 9:45 is the human concept set generation. So that's when there'll be a table, clinical lead, participants will be asked to sit in a certain table. We will have recording devices in each of these tables because we want to capture their conversations with their permissions. And why? Because we'll do a qualitative research about how humans make the decisions on codeless. So there will be honest brokers walking around. Jack, I think Daria, I'm going to remove you as honest broker because you represent AI. Jack, me, and Gaurav will circulate as a you two, and then exactly at 9:45, hard stop, pencils down. The Atlas will not accept any more edit changes. It will become read only, and Constantine will manage it from the backend. As soon as at 9:45 to 10:30, we will transition to an AI overview and the backend team will go through their critical window that they have to set up the whole evaluation stack. So we could do a small snack break. Joel can present his point of view. Daria will present her point of view. We will adjust time. If there's more AI systems that will come, we'll adjust that time. And then finally, we are going to transition to the adjudication. And that's where Jack comes in. Jack and Gaurav will come in because Gaurav will show the application and the user interface and walk through it. And Jack will talk about the measurement scale for it. As soon as the table assignments again, so we'll have a stratified randomization crossover. We'll announce which table they go to. The clinical leads stay in the same table, but the participants change. There'll be recording devices in each of those tables. There will be adjudication instructions will be will be repeated per table by by the organizers, that is Gaurav and Jack, both Gaurav and Jack coming from tool perspective and the methods perspective. Finally, go ahead.
So, guys, for the adjudication, so we're changing the tables to adjudicate a cohort, sorry, concept that they didn't help building, but you're keeping the clinical on the same topic.
Yes. The clinical lead takes the role now of just being the subject matter expert. They should not be advocating one code list over the other. They must just describe and answer questions to the participants. The participants are the adjudicators, not the clinical lead.
Okay, and we need to be careful because
Bias.
Yeah, because they are fully aware of what they built as a concept. So they're fully aware of where the code is if we're adjudicating code by code, I'm assuming we're adjudicating the discrepancies between the two. And they know the clinical need is that a code that brought from AI and not by the person or the other or the human and the other way around. So they know fully, they're not blinded because they created those concepts. Ideally, which we don't have, is that you have another clinical expert. But as long as we clarify for the clinical lead that during adjudication, they're not allowed to kind of influence the participants because the participants don't know where the discrepancy is coming from, but the clinical lead do. So
correct. But the clinical need to know, yeah, clinical needs would know if this was an AI generated versus a human generated because they saw the human generated concept set. So what they did not see is the AI. But what we are going to compare is not concept set expression. We're going to compare codeless. And
yeah, well, it's the same.
but
Well, as a human, when you develop, you look at the fully resolved concept code. So you still know.
yeah. So, but the participants know. So that's
So
there
I
is
will.
there's a
If you
potential
we
for a
want.
bias there.
So if we want to, Jack, are you? We're talking about adjudicating the discrepancies. Just let me clarify this. Correct. So let's say the AI tool resolved into 20 codes under Lupus. The human node, and are we standardizing a vocabulary or are we doing across vocabularies? It might be too complicated. You have to decide.
Standardizing vocabulary.
I'm sorry?
We'll standardize the vocabulary.
I think that's the best approach. Yeah, just standardize.
And we're going ICD-10s? Or are we talking SNOMED?
SNOMED.
Oh,
good point.
We will have filters to select by vocabulary ID. So they could do we want, yeah, that's something that we need to decide. Do we want to standardize to non-standard or standard?
It's a tricky point because both, like at least I know, for like both Joule workflow or J&J workflow does consider the actual ICDs by virtue of looking at the resolved it does look at the resolved codes to make a judgment on the SNOMED because that's what materializes on the data. At the same time, we humans, when we select code, we also look at what it maps to also make a judgment whether you want to include it or not include it, whether it matters, whether it doesn't matter, and all this stuff. So we kind of have, just from experiment, we have to say when we're gonna adjudicate the discrepancy, but we have to say on which vocabulary, standard vocabulary or source vocabulary or both vocabulary and so forth. But the other point I wanted to say, let's say we resolve that. Say we just make a decision. I'm assuming here that we are looking at the discrepancy and adjudicating that list of codes that was in one approach but not the other, without knowing which approach proposed that code, and then the people make a judgment. One idea could be, because the clinical need, again, fully know where's the source. You could, I don't know about Persemeus, but for for our workflow, there is a justification that comes out as part of the selection. So like Jenny and I would tell you that they include this code is included because of this. So they kind of defend the choice. You could have the clinical lead, but then it's not blinded because then they know we can't. Yeah, we can't. Because then once you start talking about defense, then you know it's defended by the generalized.
So what is going to be visible to the evaluators using Gaurav's tool will be a standardized representation that will not have the explanation that J&J tools may have. So because
we don't need it because then it unblinds.
Correct.
I agree.
Correct. So it will be exact same structure. And what we're going to do is if the LLM tool gives only codeless, say comma separated ICD codes, the backend system that Gaurav is building will map it to OMAP concept IDs, and you will be just seeing OMAP concept ID output. So it'll have that structure.
Yeah. So for J&J workflow, it produces both. No, it produces a concept set expression actually, fully optimized, like with using the hierarchy.
Right. Yeah.
It produces a concept set expression. It
right.
At some point it produces concept sets. It produces a concept set, and then we added a step where it will work through the hierarchy to go into a concept set expression, so a human can fully understand what they're looking at. Okay. So I guess Jack, you and Joel can talk about like the output. Sorry,
sure.
Daria.
Daria,
quickly? Yeah, I just wanted to quickly verify that I understood correctly. Will we be aiming to create standard concept sets or non-standard concept sets, or there is no requirement because it kind of matters for the AI tools at least. What are we expecting the output to be? So from what I'm hearing, I understand that the final output is a standard output. However, we do consider the mapped non-standard codes that standard output represents, or am I misunderstanding?
I think this is up for a discussion right now because I'm thinking I don't think there is a decision or a position here. The AI software companies that we have outreached includes the non-OMOP world, and the non-OMOP world does not subscribe to the notion of standard and non-standard and the concept IDs and so on. So it includes the human ontology program, all of those groups too. And they're all welcome. And if they present just ICD codes, we are not going to. We can't go from ICD to SNOMED, and no, we're going to take it as is and then put them in. And in terms of comparisons, the comparison pane, I'm thinking Gaurav's tool will do vocabulary when two concept sets, AI and human, are selected. It will also give the option to restrict to one vocabulary group, like ICD-10. So that way, so that way it will be a comparison of ICD-10 to ICD-10, human versus AI.
So that's a simpler way of doing it. So Daria, I think the idea is like you can provide the output in whatever vocabulary, in whatever format, and then eventually, because we have the vocabulary mapping and that the tooling that they can have, then it can be resolved into any vocabulary that we decide that's what we're going to compare. So if we go to SNOMED, we can just represent everything in SNOMED and compare that. If we go to say, no, we're going to go ICD-10, everything can be resolved to ICD-10 and you compare that.
Okay,
or
so
we
if I
can
do
say,
provide, sorry. I just want to say, if I do provide an output in ICD-10 CM, for example, Gaurav's tool will map it to SNOMED for the purposes of comparison.
No. If you give your output ICD-10, it will only keep ICD-10.
Okay.
It will not do any mapping. So you in the drop down, when the AI output from your tool is selected, there'll only be ICD-10 from the human tool.
Right. Okay, understood. Thank you so much for clarification.
The SNOMED version will not even be available in the human tool because there's no comparison there.
Yeah, so let me suggest the following. Why don't we have a session, Gautam, soon about
Yeah.
just the evaluation component and include Martine and Patrick. That will dictate how does the output need to be presented. I agree with you, it can't be strict to SNOMED. But remember that the humans are also represented their work SNOMED, but of course you can resolve to a particular vocabulary.
The humans, you can build non-standard codeless in Atlas if you want to. So there's no restriction there.
No, I understand, but given that people are using the standardized tooling, then yeah. Okay, so let's just follow up on the let's follow up on the evaluation.
Yeah. Again, the recordings so that we have the deliberations of the people, blinded concept sets like we talked about, focusing on the deltas. So that will be the tool will allow you to do things like present in left, not present in right, present in both, present in right, not present in left kind of thing. If needed, we could create an LLM generated interpretation that is done by Gaurav's tool, not by the AI. But that will think about processor.
So that is kind of where
Okay.
it started. And then I took all of
And
the
here voice is from
solutions.
somebody. I don't know which one.
I think, Jack, do you have people next to you? You're the only person that he muted. Oh, here we go.
Yes, my partner and I share desks, and she's in a meeting
Oh,
as
yeah.
well. So sorry, I'll mute.
All right. So yeah, so human participants, we have sufficient human participants right now. We do have clinical leads that needs to be confirmed. So that's an action item that I will take. I'm getting responses from the clinical leads. So good participation. I'm also getting some I'm outreaching a little bit for more human involvement. So I think we're good over there. The red flag that I have is the AI developers. We only have two. That's not enough, I think, from a power perspective. So it will be nice to get more. So I don't know how to promote it a little bit more. Maybe I did ask to use the Odyssey Twitter and social media process to do it. So I will ping back Elise and Craig to see it. In terms of enrollment, it is internet enabled, so you don't have to register for the OHDSI Symposium to be part of the work group. You can just come on October 9th, and you can be online only if you want to. So there's really no requirement to be part of the OHDSI main symposium registration. But we need a list. And so I have the list that is through the formal registration, but I do not have the list from informal registrations yet. So I have to add that. What else did we want to talk about? Let's see.
Yeah, so maybe we just home down to the next steps. I think the experiment itself is fully, so you're saying we just need, hopefully, you would like to have more GenAI tools participating?
Yeah. So I've outreach to all of these. So these were identified to various academic universities that have some scientific publication that seems to be related. There was various open source consortia that have like even the Human Phenotype Ontology group. All of these are great, smartest minds in the field. So trying to get them involved. Various OHDSI scientific submissions and various proprietary software. So these proprietary softwares have advertised capabilities. So I have found their emails and emailed them. And so says that. And the email was sent out again today, and they've been given the option of being blinded. But no response. good feedback from in the discussion. There was one idea. There's two more ideas. One idea is for to help scale this. We will build what we're calling as target standard. So the target standard is something that for the clinical idea that has been chosen, the clinical experts, or maybe just it's Patrick, Aza, and me, will build the target concept set expressions and codeless, and that will be put into the mix of the assessments. So now we can assess if a certain concept set that has been built by an AI or human is ranked above or below this target standard. So you can scale the distribution and then do a visualization on top of it. So the same measurement scale, nobody knows that it was a target level, and then so we can now scale it to in that distribution. So that was one idea. I think that's a cool idea, but that the task for that is once we get the clinical descriptions done, it's the three of us just has to build concept sets in secret and put that in the mix and give it to Gaurav.
So the idea here is it's not used as an adjudication tool. The adjudication is still that discussion. So like the gold standard of this concept set will be the resolving list after the adjudication. But there's also one issue. What if the target concept has a code that neither of the two tools approaches included, and then it won't get adjudicated. So we just have to go into this. But the idea here is that you have a target list, that it would be that the performance of each approach will be relative to that target.
Jack, go ahead. You have your methodology.
Yeah, thanks. So I'm glad we're having this discussion because I think I was thinking about this evaluation perhaps a little differently. I was assuming that this target standard that you described, so the kind of ideal concept set would be what we compared both the human-generated concept sets to, and then separately the AI-generated concept sets to, so that way we can rank which one is more complete or has higher precision. Or okay, that's great.
So you're taking
you're
taking the target as the gold standard.
Correct.
But at the same time, we're talking about adjudication. This is why there's like, if you're gonna do adjudication, then now there's another gold standard.
Yeah. So what I understood about this, putting the gold standard or the target standard in the mix, was could I show you the rubric real quick?
Yeah,
I'll try
please do.
Thanks. Yeah, sorry, I don't want to distract too much, but so what I've been thinking, I think, can you see this now?
Yeah, it's very clear.
Great, thank you. So is that for the adjudication or the overall evaluation, there'll be two main components. One is an F1 score, which I think you're probably familiar with. Is this is what I was talking about with like comparison to the gold standard. So alignment with what concepts are in the human-made or AI-made set that are also in this target standard that we'll have come up with before, or the three of you will come up with for each of these different conditions. And I was thinking actually that component probably can effectively be calculated automatically. You don't really need a human to look at that. You could simply compare the list. If it's just a list of this is where I was getting a bit thrown off by the earlier important talk about standard versus non-standard, but comparing, say, the concept IDs in the participant-generated set versus the concept IDs in the target standard. But so if we assume that those are in the same vocabulary, then that would be quite a straightforward. I think
the target standard can have multiple vocabularies.
Yeah.
And so
if that's possible, then that's Great.
Let's just simplify things just to get the math away out of the
Sure.
input. Let's assume we have standard vocabulary, so we're comparing apple to apple.
Perfect. Yeah, so we assume that. So my thought was that the F1 score component really could just be done in the app itself. You just feed in the participants' code lists, it compares it to the gold standard that's already preloaded into the app, gives you that part of the score. The other angle I was thinking of is this, what I'm calling structural proficiency score, which is more to do with, honestly, it's structure in Atlas, particularly so the correct use of descendants and exclusion, to make both a very comprehensive set and a very efficient set, ideally.
So you're judging the parsimonious, like how parsimonious is a concept set is.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's right. So you would have, say, and these could be two Likert scales that are basically, since they go to a maximum of 5, you would just sum them together and then divide by 10, so that the overall score of this would be a score from 0 to 1, which is the same scale as the F1 score. So that way they're on the same scale. Anyway, but yeah, I'll talk about this sort of proficiency thing. Actually, sorry if I jump around a lot, but I built some just very quick concept sets just to think about it, which were based on, I'm more familiar with stomach cancer, so I just chose that. But so, for example, I made a set. It's very simple. I wanted to say, all right, gastric adenocarcinoma. So this was my quick gold. Again, not a physician, but epidemiologist standard of like, all right, so I'll find the adenocarcinoma of the stomach and click descendants on that. Great. Like that's my ideal structure. And then I had so if that were, say, the gold standard, there could be participants, or the AI could, sorry, of course, Atlas a little bit slow. Maybe we should just open these separately. So people could make mistakes when doing it. So they could, for example, be too narrow. Let's see if so they might say, just click on adenocarcinoma in the stomach, but they didn't get descendants. And so they're missing many things. And not only would this have very poor overlap in terms of F1 score, because the gold had, say, 315 concepts, but also they didn't make use of descendants, say, in this. So that would also affect the human adjudicating this would see, this person did not use descendants very well, and so I'm going to rate their hierarchy score of 0, perhaps out of 5. And then you could have the opposite could be too broad. So say someone selects just what do you call it? Malignant neoplasm of the stomach, and clicks descendants on that, and so there are 15,000 concepts, most of which are irrelevant to this condition. So then that would contain all of the same probably concepts that are in the gold standard, but it would also have tons of irrelevant concepts. So the human adjudicator could say, they didn't think about this very well. And then I'll skip that one because it's the same idea. The other idea I had was, say, what I'm calling like the inefficient approach. So someone who didn't make use of the, say, descendants or exclude feature in Atlas. So what this is effectively, I took that same adenocarcinoma of the stomach.
Gold standard, resolved it, and feed it as concept expression.
Yeah. So this is where, there are 315 concepts in the concept expression. So this is, the JSON is enormous. It's extremely unwieldy. So this would be it contains exactly the same concepts as the gold standard, but it's very badly structured.
Yeah, this is a very cool idea of being able to calculate the score of the optimization. but it only applies for the OHDSI concept set expression-based submissions. And it sounds like obviously all humans are going to build Atlas concept set expressions.
Right.
The two AI participants right now, the J&J one and the Prometheus one, are both also concept set expression. So you're, as long as for these comparisons, this is a valid measure, so we can do it.
Yeah, can
Okay.
I ask can we go back to your rubric?
Yes.
I know we have 3 minutes, but I think that's and we should have another session including like because on our side we've been thinking of the right evaluation for a long time now. So we can just put our heads together. So let me just clarify. So when you say the F score, are you limiting the F score of completeness, not considering accuracy? I thought F score would include both, would be a judgment of both.
It does. Yeah. So it has both precision and recall. Yeah. So
exactly. So basically the F score. So now we're saying the gold standard, we have a gold standard, and based on that, we having the F score, which represent the false positives and the false positive, the missing and the recall and precision. So we got that.
Positive predictive value.
We got that. Yeah. And then the accuracy score, you're thinking of the accuracy score is an adjudication by humans where you just explain what does 0 mean, what does 1 mean, what does whatever. And that is a reflection. It's a Likert scale that is a reflection of how well is the concept set using the hierarchy. So they're not going to give you a bad score because you missed codes, because we're assuming that's already in the F score. But the idea of like how good is your concept set expression using hierarchy, and that's, you're saying that's the adjudication component. That is, we sit down and we discuss that. So we're not discussing is the code good or bad. We're just discussing, is the concept set expression structurally profound or not?
Yes, that is what I was thinking.
Yeah, so Gautam, that's a little bit different than what we discussed, which I now understand why Jack said let's stop a little bit. So let's just have another discussion on the evaluation. I like the idea. Definitely, we all like the idea, that you're testing, which is basically the accuracy, the recall, and the structural proficiency. I think those are 3 dimensions that the evaluation should touch on. But I think I think there's 2 problems. One is that the idea of adjudication was to not assume that we actually have a gold standard, because the gold standard is a human made. So you're kind of already biased to the human. Yeah, they're experts, but they're just another human.
No, you can think about it as something as a standard of care arm, right?
Correct. Well, correct. So now, yes, but we never consider the standard of care arm as it's the baseline, but it's not the right. So here we're saying that it is the best thing that can happen. And any addition is a lack of accuracy.
Is it possible to scale it in such a way that additions, it's only looks for missings, not addition, not. So it looks for specificity, it looks for sensitivity errors, but not specificity.
But now you're saying the LLM inclusion is the best that can happen. So let me just, because we thought about this, I think Gautam, next steps, because we let's just have a time. I don't can discuss this, and then Martijn will come up with. Let's just have another 45 minutes with Martijn and Patrick, and come with this as a proposal, and just we also want to have a nice balance between simple and legit. So the simple is to have that gold standard, which I think is fine. A more legit is the adjudication itself become the gold standard. So what you do is you have the one from the you have the one that is the standard, you have the one from the LLM, you have the one from the humans, and then where you have a agreement between all three is true. Anything else that is incremental of that is up for adjudication. And then you adjudicate the full list. And then whatever is adjudicated as should be included get added to that initial list. And that list become your gold standard. And then you compute the F score for all of them compared to that final adjudicated list.
Oh. Yeah.
I mean, that would be a true gold standard, meaning that you took the expert, you took the human, you took the LLM, you adjudicated anything in the pool, everything that everybody agreed on is considered true, and then everything that one tool didn't agree on is up to adjudication. Post adjudication is your final gold standard list.
I see. Right. So it's at the so the adjudicators, yes, as I said, assess the deltas, as in what's missing or different from all of the AI, the target standard, the human participant output, and then they talk through, should this have been included, should it not? They decide, and whatever they decide, that becomes this fourth code list, and that is the true gold standard. And then we compare the human participant generated, the AI generated concept sets against that newly created ecumenical concept set list. Okay.
And the reason and the purpose of that one that Patrick, me, and Gautam create is it is a reference in a meaning that you make sure that if both LLM and human made a mistake, you have still another way to say, because you're only looking at the deltas. So it's a way of making sure that if two tools made mistake, you still have a way to test that by that reference tool. So then it's adjudicated, even if the human LLM agreed. If they didn't agree with the standard, it's still adjudicated. So that's why it's useful. And the last part of its usefulness, its F score become the standard of care. That's the minimum you want. And then when you say that the LLM did better, you say it did better than the standard and better than the human by that much. It becomes a relative score to what standard of care or the best of care we have. The best of care is Gautam, Patrick, and Azab come up with the concept set. We have the LLM performing as good as them. So it's a reference to how good it is. And of course, and way better than a whole set of new bioinformatics coming together. So you see how. So I think that is the best we can do. The only problem is the adjudication is a messy process, which if we can completely get rid of would be a much simpler experiment.
But then it's
we are
no, you're absolutely right. But it's the whole point of our experiment, I think. Oh yes, sorry, no, we've gone over. When you have that meeting with Martin and Patrick, I'd love to join, please.
No, you have to join because you are the evaluation lead. So they're gonna be just like they're gonna give their opinion, but eventually we have to decide on an approach that is balanced the best of our time and what we can do and the tooling and go with it. I know like Martin doesn't like the idea of Patrick come up with the concept set and that's the gold standard. Because now we're only testing if the LLM is better than Patrick, and then that's like not scientifically sound. But let's let's have that meeting. But we have a proposal of like a very complex design versus a very simplest design, and let's see where we go. I'll set that meeting.
Great, sounds good.
Excellent. This is again, going back to the extremely ambitious volunteer group of people doing
Yes.
probably the most state of the art, probably a stronger design than most randomized control trials.
we try our best.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
And even
It'll
if
be
we didn't get more AI tools, I mean, we were talking about, at least from the community side, it's the two things we have.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think it's fine.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Asa, for the feedback on the methods. Jack, we will set that up. And
Thanks,
then
Bruce.
that will also feedback will be the input for Gaurav's tool, because Gaurav's tools needs to support all these things. So we have to figure that out. Sajjan, you got to, you're responsible to do the mockups for the UI. And Maria, thank you for the claps, but could you introduce yourself so we know who you are? Okay.
Talvez pode falar agora. That's
Yeah.
okay.
Have a good day, everybody.
All right. Take care, everyone. Thanks.
Bye bye.